Hello, welcome. Welcome to Blood Moon Oracle. Good morning. I hope you guys are well today. Um, like, share, comment, subscribe if you feel led. And if you find yourself subscribing for the first time, feel free to hit the bell so you'll be notified. Today, we're going to take a look at um, a spread that takes a look into, we're going to read into the energy of calling to something, calling to a purpose, to a certain action. We're going to tap into that energy. I think this is a very ripe energy to tune into what it is that we feel like we've been called to. It is a general spread, so I'm just going to tap into the energy and see what comes out. It may resonate, it may not. Again, it's general, so don't feel like you have to take it if it doesn't resonate, if it's not aligning with what you know about yourself. I do ask that you use your discernment. Don't just take my word as truth, but align with it. If it does, if not, then don't, right? Use your discernment. Ask your spirit guides, um, intuit the information, and see if it aligns with you. Okay. I hope you guys are well today. Happy Wednesday. You'll have to excuse my morning voice. It's always a little bit rough after I have, not talked for 8 hours. And then this is like my first talking of the day. It takes a minute to kind of warm up my vocal cords. And so you may find me clearing my throat or whatever, but just know that it's going to take a minute to warm up. Okay. I hope you guys are well. Thank you for stopping by. And so I'll be using a different kind of deck today. This deck is peering more into, excuse me, it's peering more into the work. So this is my light workers deck. And so it's talking, when we look into this deck, we're going to be delving into purpose, right? I'm also going to be using my Star Tarot deck, and my oppositions deck may come into play. I also have my Kipper deck. And so we'll just see where spirit leads us in this reading, okay? But first, we're going to look at the nature of the call here. Spirit, please and thank you. And we're asking the spirit guides this message with truth, with intention, with purity, and that we are able to open and receive all the information as possible for the viewer that will resonate with this reading, okay? And so the nature of the call, the energy that we'll be looking into, we're looking into like the heart of the matter, of the nature of the call. Really, we could also be focusing on change happening or like that major energy that's being communicated right now for you. Okay. So let's see what comes out. A couple of cards came out, so I'm being led to take both of them. Even though I only wanted one, this may be significant for more than one person that will hear this message. The first one is hold your center. It's a number 34, could be significant. 7 could be significant. See if we can get it to show up. Hold your center. And the immediate thing I always notice when I'm looking at my oracle cards, whenever there's a portal that shows up, it sticks out to me. I'm looking at a portal right behind her. And inside of this portal is kind of like a spirit guide. There's someone in the spirit realm that's right behind her. And that's what's sticking out to me. But in general, hold your center is all about acknowledging the fact that sometimes we get into the mode where we're rushing, right? We're rushing to, do things or rushing out to meet people. trying to, sometimes we find ourselves bending backwards to meet others' accommodations and their needs, to fulfill their expenses. Sometimes it's at our own expense, it's at our own well-being that we do this. I know that far too often. And I'm so glad that I'm no longer in that mindset. Actually, I'm very the opposite now. But sometimes we find ourselves doing that. So this could be for someone who, feels like they get a lot of fulfillment out of doing for others or pouring out for others. And but now you're being called, the energy of change coming in, what you're being called to right now is to strengthen your own energy. You're being called to strengthen your own energy, strengthen your boundaries. I'm hearing strengthen your boundaries and to find your own ground and to stabilize and firmly plant your feet there and to be still for an extended period of time. And when you plant your feet, it's almost like when you go into meditation and you're sitting up in a chair or you're sitting somewhere and you want your feet to be planted firmly, the whole root of your foot to be planted firmly on the ground so that you can anchor down and ground into the earth, ground into the floor. Feel your feet anchoring, kind of like a tree grounds down into the earth, right? In that same way. And in doing that, allowing ourselves to experience that quiet certainty and grab a hold or embrace our center. And when we embrace that, commit to our center with courage and with consciousness. This is what Spirit is calling us to. This is what Spirit is calling you to hold your center. And it is a 7. 34s end up being 7s, but 7s are very spiritual. 7s talk about reflection, assessment, wisdom. It's all about knowledge as well. It's a very spiritual number for me. This number has been coming out a whole lot, and so that could resonate with you. You could be seeing 7s, but this is all about learning to trust the inner self, the inner calling, our instincts. And this is about journeying within safely without having to compare ourselves to others, and without being discouraged or being distracted by what's going on with others. This is firmly coming into our own light, right? Which comes from within. It doesn't come from without. Our light comes from within. And so it's important to understand that, because what happens is we end up dimming our own light when we start looking around and we start comparing ourselves. And there is no comparison. We all hold our own unique individual light. We hold our own unique individual path. There's no comparison. And so this is tapping into that unique space within you that's like nothing or no one else, and affirming that and anchoring into that, right? And so when we do that, sometimes we will be confronted with the energy of misunderstanding, and that's okay. And sometimes that takes us back to childhood experiences. But this is allowing yourself to go back to encourage and to confirm and to change that experience to one that will be one that will allow us to enter into our true self with the love. Okay. And so this could be resonating for someone. And it could be a difficult thing to break. It could be a difficult pattern to break. However, it's doable. And Spirit is saying it's time. It's time to honor and love self. It's time to recognize the beauty that lies within and how you don't need, there's nothing about you that's wrong. You don't need to change for anyone. You are who you are, what you are, and it is what it is. And the divine is not asking you to change either. You were created perfectly. It's understanding that. But you're being encouraged right now instead to really start to bask in your essence and to allow yourself to become even more of that, even more of you. And hold your center right there. And don't let anybody or anything shake you up. Not through being afraid. Don't let nobody intimidate you. Not through confrontation, not being challenged. Don't let that shake you up. Not through doubt, through jealousy, through fear, all of those things that lessen our ability to love. Don't let those things turn you away from holding your center, which means to really just accept your innate value and worth. It's nothing that you have to earn, nothing that you have to change. It is the purest essence of who you are right now. And the fact that you have a right to exist and thrive and accept love that's being given to you, and the fact that you are created in order to fulfill a divine purpose, a divine destiny. And so for someone, this is calling you to your center. And you may have to confront some things because you are on the right path and you have to know that, okay? You have to fight the desire to collapse into fear or guilt or to make others more comfortable with who you are becoming. And it's not selfish and it's not difficult. Understand your strength. And you are the one who is able, who is being called to hold yourself in high esteem. And so allow yourself to do that and be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with others as you do it, but don't accept anything less. Okay? If anything comes in that's less than that, that does not align with that, then you do not accept that. Okay? Believe of what it is that you are and what you are worthy of and capable of. Anything like that that comes in that refutes that or that challenges that, that's not to be aligned with you, because those are things that would tear you down and that would turn you towards self-hatred. But this is almost like there's like a spiritual training that's happening here. And I feel like you do have support behind you that's backing you. The fact that I see this presence through this portal, and then there's a dove right above it. You have divine assistance in the spirit realm. And I feel like for many, this is playing as a part of like kind of like a training time, a training ground where your soul is learning to open up and to receive this guidance and to channel in this healing. This is the healing is what's needed for you to be able to function, right, in the capacity of your purpose. For someone, the fact that there is this spirit that is here, right, it's almost like there's some type of channeling or healing that you've been called to. I am talking to a light worker. You could be someone who is very sensitive and receptive, and many times find yourself just kind of wide open. And this is calling into balance, into a sense of resilience and strength. And even to stand in that, there's like such a thing called as divine stubbornness. Like stand in your divinity with stubbornness and don't give in. to those things that will make you want to give up and turn around and take the easier route because it gets hard. But this is standing in that and staying open to guidance as well. So you're being called into the balance of love and wisdom, those things that are necessary to continue to grow. Okay. Because you are unique, you're individual in this world of vastness. There's a lot of people who really fear this thing that we call true identity, but you're being called to just that. And they're afraid of it because it's something that can't be easily controlled. But that's what you're being called to. So, yeah, you will encounter many challenges, many people who want to bring you down to their level. Don't let them. Okay. Hold your center. And that doesn't mean that you no longer surrender, but what it means is that you consciously choose to surrender to things that will build you up and move you closer to yourself. Divine love, right? Things that will help you to continue to grow and be empowered. That's the key word, empowered. Because the fact of the matter is, we're all here to bring a light into the world. You're here to shine the light that you've been given. And that light serves as kind of like a lighthouse for others. There's a poem by Mary Ann Williamson talking about that light, how we've been created to shine. Like, who are we not to shine the light that we've been created to shine? Who are you not to be beautiful and brilliant and, all of these amazing things when you were created to be just that? And so the thing about the light, every time the sun rises, it never asks for permission. It just rises. So Spirit is saying you don't have to ask for permission. Just be and continue to be more and more of your true, unique essence. It just is. You don't even have to try. Yeah. And so hold your center. It's calling you out. If you have not yet stepped out, it's calling you out. Okay. And if you have stepped out, it's calling you even closer to your unique light. Okay. And you have all the support that you need. Now, the second card that came out is the 44, which always serves as a healing number. It's a master number. You could be a master number 44. You could be a healer. This is the seventh ray of ritual, order, and ceremony. Let's see if we can get this to focus. It's pretty interesting. Let's see. The seventh ray, and we have a 7 again in the word itself, but it's a number 44. The seventh ray of ritual, order, and ceremony. Pretty interesting picture, I would say. And so when we talk about the seventh ray of ritual, order, and ceremony, we're talking about a gift that enters our life at a certain point in time. It's a gift, right? And it's being formed, and it's something that's being given not for self, but for the world. And so this is talking about an increase coming in. This could be an increase of magic. This could be an increase of ceremony and ritual, but it's for the purpose of healing. It's not for personal, selfish purposes, just to manifest what we want. This is specifically for healing. This is going to resonate with high frequency, violet light energy, and it may be connecting with the archangel Zadkiel. This energy also helps to transmute energy from lower frequencies to higher frequencies. And it's all about spiritually cleansing. And that cleansing actually supports um, spiritual freedom. It's almost like a releasing of bondage or a loosening of shackles. And it also empowers us to be able to make choices that allow us to be seen and felt, and restoring hope that may have once been lost and joy to the heart. So if there's anything that's needed, this is huge, huge right now. So someone, I do feel like between these two cards is being called to really be a lighthouse. There's something major that's needed right now. And we're being called to step into that energy and allow this energy to be active. Through the seventh ray, we allow this energy to be active in the earth, flowing at all times. And when that happens, it's almost like everywhere you go, when you have a certain aura or an energy that you carry, you affect every environment that you enter into, every interaction that you have, whether it's in person, through the internet, whether it's in thought, it is affected by that energy. So for someone, this energy is increasing around you, in you, upon you, so that you can be this kind of healing conduit everywhere that you go. And this energy is going to act as like a push and pull, right? Between the old and between the new. Mhm. And it's going to cause, it's going to cause some stir, right? And I can't help but think of, because I have a lot of Christians that watch my channel, I know Christ didn't come to bring peace. He came to bring the sword, right? He came to make a distinction, to cause division. We tend to think of him in terms of, oh, he's this meek and lowly lamb. Yeah, but he also flipped over some tables. He also confronted the Pharisees and the Sadducees and told them that they were a bunch of white sepulchres, right? He said, yeah, it looks clean on the outside. It's nice and white on the outside, but it's filthy on the inside, right? He stirred some hearts. He stirred some contention. He did not come to bring peace. He came to bring truth. He came to bring the sword, the ace of swords, right? We are being called to that. For whoever this message is for, this pull and this push between the old and the new. This is what we are carrying around, this energy. And we can even look at it as being a conduit for spirit to work through us, because it's not really us. It's the energy that is increasing right now that we're talking about. We've given a name to it. It's called the seventh ray of ritual, order, and ceremony. The seventh ray, this is what we're talking about, this energy. And when it enters our life, for some of us, it already has. Maybe it's increasing at this moment. For some, maybe it's entering in right now as you're listening to this message. But as it enters in, what we're being asked is to balance in our lives. And that balance is about our attachments to what has been and releasing it, or being open to what will be. Okay, that's what we are being asked as the conduit. And this is really a time where we're being called to really just fearlessly question what has been. I feel like we are definitely in a time where things are transitioning. The old is no longer working, in case we have not noticed. It's not working. I think everything has a purpose and a time. Not to say that it never worked. Maybe it did for the time that it was meant to work. We're entering into a new time now. And no matter how we kick and scream, the change is coming. It's like the death card. The change is coming, whether you want it to happen or not, it's happening. And this is a time to fearlessly question what has been. We can do that with honor, and continue to hold value for what no longer serves us. It doesn't mean that we have to enter into a very disrespectful type of confrontation. However, we are being called to change. There's some things that are changing. And if you are being called, this is talking to you. If it's aligning, if it's resonating. But the seventh ray also creates a form of this kind of intangible, this invisible spiritual energy, right? You won't be able to see it, but you'll know. People will know, right? Because there will be a change. When you enter into people's lives, they'll never be the same. Okay. And, sometimes it's for a moment. Sometimes it's, for a little while, you'll walk with people. Sometimes it may be, you meet soulmates that you end up doing life with. Whatever capacity that you're meant to enter people's lives, it will be changed because of the energy that you've been given to carry, because of the work that's being done through you. It's not you, but it's the energy, it's the work being done through you. It will never be the same after you have the interaction, okay? This is what we're talking about, this very intangible, this invisible spiritual energy. And it's all about inspiring solutions and acknowledging synchronicities that just show up randomly out of nowhere as signs of the divine order happening. And this brings an alignment to divine order. And the more we're willing to invoke and allow that energy to come in, the more we are serenaded and uplifted and multiplied and abundantly affected by it. The more life aligns itself with that energy of genius, creativity. Things began to just outpour, things that we didn't even know we had in us. It's like divine genius, right? Solutions may arise out of this energy, loving opportunities that we never knew was coming towards us. The universe wants to bring these things into our world. And sometimes it's through this type of energy that it will happen. Okay. But the gifts of this ritual, order, and ceremony always brings in this type of energy. And when we talk about ceremony, we're just basically talking about commitment, conscious commitment and intention to do something in service to our love of the divine unconditionally. And this may, in fact, be interpreted as a need to kind of feed a sacred embodiment, right? It's almost like that energy that draws me to come and speak with my ancestors every evening, or to burn an incense, or to come before them and talk with them. It's like a hunger within that we seek to feed, many times through like religion. Sometimes it's through other less conscious rituals of addiction that we find ourselves serving. But it's that kind of energy. When we talk about ceremonies, it's a sacred calling. Now, we talk about rituals, we can also be stuck in that way as well. But it can, on the other hand, open us up to the sacred, depending on how we're consciously seeing it. and allowing ourselves to serve it. And so this could also tap into a spiritual practice that we engage with on a regular basis as we create our own spiritual systems. And this allows us to help call that energy of our divine genius forward through the seventh ray into life, into the energy flow of life. That spiritual practice could be like a daily prayer, followed by a short, conscious dance. It could be a yoga session. It could be just a short walk every evening. It could be like a meditation at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, or it could be a combination of these things. Whatever it is, we can find what works for us. It's all about being conscious and the intention, right? And to do it regularly, commit to it, make it priority. And through this, we open and we invite spirit into our lives through these simple, quick, ordered systems that we do on a regular basis. Even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes a day, it's not about time. It's about the intention. It's about the welcoming in and opening up new life to come in and happen and order things around us that bring in these expansive new ideas so the world can change and our ideas around life can happen. Okay. So there are some challenges that come in with the seventh ray, not to become obsessed with what will be, not to become obsessed with the future or with the new, to the extent that we forget about the right now, or we stop valuing what is right now. And I talk about that a lot, about simplicity, about being present, about being grateful while we're waiting. Yeah, there's a lot promised that we're moving towards, but don't forget about the value and the gift of now, right? And so there's some challenge with the seventh ray because it's such a powerful energy. It has such a powerful dynamic. It can pull us into the future out of the presence. And so the challenge is to stay present here and to stay grateful and thankful for what already is. And while you're doing that, develop what has value. Okay. Develop what has value without rejecting anything from the past, right? As we're delving from the new into from the old into the new, it's not taking away the value from the old. It's still valuable, but it is evolving into what's needed right now. It's evolving into what is becoming, right? Without losing what has been. And so that's the challenge. And there's a lot about this that can teach us wisdom about creating, a more loving way as we roll over into the future and we balance out our passion for the future with respect for the past. And the whole thing around the seventh ray is there's a gift of being able to live and embody divine presence. That's what this is about. Being able to live and embody the divine presence. For those that don't even recognize or trust that there is a love flowing from the divine that comes from their heart, right? This would be very beneficial for those. This seventh ray actually, for those of us that do, empowers us to live life in a significant way through ritual. That's what we're talking about as we invite the divine presence to fill our everyday lives, while also being open to learn how to use our consciousness to clean up our own energy field and the energy field of the world, right, at large. So in essence, we're kind of intercessing, right? Or we are standing and holding space for others that aren't able to even hold space with what's happening right now. Yeah. And in doing that, it's almost like we are alleviating a little bit of the suffering, right? And the pain and the anguish that the world is plagued with right now. So we talk about changing the vibration of the planet. This is what we're talking about. Okay. So you may be someone who has been called to change the vibration of the planet. Of the planet. I'm making up new words, the planet. And the major arcana card that is coming out is the Lovers. The Lovers. This may be, I can't help but feel like this could be like around partnerships for someone. Maybe you've been called to enter into partnership with someone else to do this. Very interesting that that would come out, because two cards did come out. So this could also be, um, balancing both aspects of who you are, or it could be different aspects of a partnership that's working on both of these things. Maybe one is working on holding your center, the other one is working on developing this energy of the seventh ray around ritual, order, and ceremony, healing the earth. There's something about partnership coming through here. Six could be significant. But when we look at the energy of the Lovers, this is all about a healthy unions. Um, I don't know if there is a call that you have to heal unions, to heal the energy between specific dynamics, like, maybe the unions, connections between the masculine and the feminine. Maybe this is healing the dynamic within ourselves, and coming to understanding that we all carry both of those energies. And so the Lovers is really a complicated and multifaceted energy. And it holds a very traditional ideas around, um, growing from childhood, like adolescence, around even our sexual discovery, around free will, and especially around making choices. And when we look at the modern ideas, we're looking at concepts around balance between our inner masculine and feminine, right? These are many times expressed in romantic relationships in the world, right? Not all relationships are masculine and feminine. It could be two feminine energies or two masculine energies, but ideally, traditionally, it's masculine and feminine that brings in the balance, that activates a certain dynamic when we're tapping in power that we're talking about. There's a balance that happens. And if there is unbalance within those polarities, it could be inner or outer within our relationships, then it's reflected in the choices, right, that we make within our relationships, within life, within love. And so we're talking about the energy of love with the Lovers, sensuality, sexuality. All of those energies can be transformative if it comes from a balanced place. That's the key. If it comes from a balanced place. When we talk about having a very loving and committed union with another, right, it can definitely increase our understanding of, life, of creativity. It can be very renewing. It could bring people closer to their soul self and to the divine. It's almost like the divine showing up in physical form, which in fact helps us to connect with our divine source. And this is the energy we're talking about. We're talking about stepping in that very transformative energy. But there's a gift that the Lovers card brings, and it's all about healing, through sacred connection, things like marriage or commitment. things that develop very solid, loving relationships in life. And so the number 6 is a number of balance. For me, it always has been a number of coming home to self, completion, integration, transformation as well. The number 6 is a number of communication. It's the number of cooperation, harmony, problem solving, and progress. Okay. Very transformative. And one of the huge lessons that the lovers brings is around loving ourselves first, loving ourselves first before you could truly open up to another authentically, right? You have to love yourself. And from that place, we're able to mirror only genuine love. And in mirroring that, then we're able to attract that equal light from another that will bring the growth and the expansion in our hearts and in our emotional being. And so that's what this is all about. And I feel like everybody, hopefully everybody, has experienced some level of love, true love on some level. And that feeling of like just being in this very ecstatic energy where you feel like you're walking on air. It's almost like when you first fall in love and you feel that sense of infatuation, like everything around you seems to be more vivid with color. It's more alive. It's more connected. Your passions are high. Your creativity is flowing. The lovers, it symbolizes this feeling, but it goes deeper than that, though. That's the initial kind of like that infatuation, that honeymoon phase, right? But there's something much deeper that the lovers talks about. That's very superficial. But when we go a little bit deeper, we're looking at commitment to something, to a connection, to a relationship. The lovers represents a strong partnership that's genuine and harmonious, bringing trust and spiritual strength that surrenders to the heart without fear. And because of that, it expands and it stretches the physical and spiritual self to connect in deep ways that is unexpected. Things that you didn't even realize was there. It explores things and opens things up that is hidden. The lovers have a kindred understanding of gifts that love and sensuality can bring. It can encompass human love, spiritual love. It could also encompass sexual love that is in transformative as well. And so this card reminds us to value sensual and spiritual love, and it awakens us to the force of the Kundalini and creativity within us. And so there's something about the lovers that's coming out here. It's talking about commitment, strong connections that stimulate growth and expansion spiritually towards deeper understanding of the inner self. Also, those around us that we're connected to, that we're in relationship with in our outer world. And it also brings us to understand our free will to make choices in life that supports our heart's evolution on this spiritual path. It helps us to examine our relationships and our choices to see whether or not they're coming from a balanced place, from an integrated place. And if it does not, for any reason, it helps us to identify the opposing aspects within ourselves and how they have affected our external life. Sometimes it points to our internal struggles between these dualities and how they can create negative projections outwardly. And so it gives us an opportunity to address those inner conflicts and balance the dualities. As we trust in ourselves in a loving way, we can balance out healing and struggles that has happened in the past. And so there's something about this energy that comes out. For this energy, this points to the Archangel Raphael, who is the healer of light, right? Still talking about healing here. And so, what you've been called to, for whoever I'm talking about, you carry a specific energy that may, in fact, affect the healing through your connections. Whenever you come into connection with somebody, we're talking about all kinds of connections, not just romantic. We're talking about all kinds of connections. Anytime you come into connections, as we were just saying with the seventh ray, you bring a healing to the connections. Archangel Raphael, the healing of light, who actually opens the heart to light and heals into higher consciousness. The Raphael represents the healing of the mind, the body, through light and unconditional love of the divine. Behind the Archangel Raphael is a sun. You see the sun? Can you see it? There's a sun right behind the head of the angel that represents the light of the divine. Right on his chest plate is a dove, which represents the Holy Spirit that descends with light, bringing peace that comes again for healing and self-love as well, true self-love. And then right underneath the angel is a man and a woman facing each other, kind of looking in each other's eyes through devotion and commitment. We could construe this as kind of like a sacred marriage. We've all heard of the story of the garden, right? But there is like a commitment that's happening here. Also, it is also reflective of the energies, not just this man and this woman, but this is representative of masculine and feminine energy. So not only is this possible on the outside with someone outside of us, but this is also pointing to the need of this type of commitment within, even more so than without. Okay, because it can't happen without if it does not happen first within. And so this is pointing to what happens within, the love, the devotion, the commitment that we commit to ourselves within. Okay. There is also an apple on this tree. There's many apples on this tree. And, you know, the Garden of Eden, we're talking about the story of creation, representing the garden, has a tree with apples representing the tree of good and evil. It could be representing temptation as well. There's also a golden tree here representing the tree of life. So one is forbidden and one gives life. It is rewarding and inviting. And this card, the Lovers, is all about choice. It's all about choice. And so these trees at the bottom of this picture, they have roots that are going down. We're talking about being grounded, right? And the roots are intertwining down in the ground. And in this ground area is kind of like a pool. And there's stars down here in this pool, or butterflies, that talks about, and as they intertwine, there's a heart that's shaped when the two roots come together. This is really talking about the possibilities in shaping of the heart, in dealing in this area of growth and inspection, right? And on top of the heart, there's a six-pointed star as well. This is really representing the masculine spirit of consciousness and fire. The water triangle on top of it, you know how they make a star and it's two triangles on top of each other. When we talk about sacred geometry, the one pointing up is the masculine energy. And then the one pointing down is the feminine energy, which is emotional, unconscious, and watery, whereas the masculine is very spiritual, conscious, and fiery. But it's talking about these two coming together, symbolizing creation and transformation at a very sacred level. And in between the man and the woman is a grail. It's a cup, which represents the feminine, the garden of receptivity and flowing with this energy of love into the pool of all possibilities. The masculine has a sword, which brings thought, imagination into action. And it's a double-edged sword, which it defines one's needs and choices to make in life. I also see lots of butterflies here, representing the beauty of transformation that comes from healing and self-love. And there's flowers blooming in the back, these lilies representing purity and unconditional love. And it is the sign of the Gemini, which is the sign of duality, the twins. It's the sign of communication. The twins embody that yin yang, that light dark, the known, the unknown. It's that duality energy. And it's all about thinking. Okay. And so there's something about being that this card comes out, there's something about the calling to affect the frequency of the earth through relationships, through communication, through bringing in balance. But first, you're being called to hold your center. Find your authentic space within yourself and continue to embellish and grow in that. Get comfortable there. And then understand how you are operating through the seventh ray, or how spirit is operating through you, rather. All you have to do is hold your center. That's what equips spirit to operate through you. Okay. Now, as we go further, I know we've already been here an hour. We're going to take a look at how you're responding to this. How you're responding to this. And first off, we're going to take a look at how you're responding spiritually, or how you are being asked to respond spiritually to this call. This could shift your spiritual beliefs. It could shift how you operate spiritually. So we have the Queen of Pentacles coming out spiritually. What about intellectually? Ooh, Queen of Swords. Intellectually. What about emotionally? I'm going to holler if the Queen of Cups come out. What about emotionally? Okay, I dropped some cards. 1 second. Ooh. I don't know why I'm hearing Snoop's song. Drop it like it's hot. Oh my gosh. Okay, what about emotionally? Three of Pentacles, and then physically. Physically. Okay, I'm going to take this because it came out twice. The Three of Wands. Okay. And so spiritually, this is how things may in fact change, how you are actually operating in what you believe or what you practice, right? Things may in fact change. And I feel like the Queen of Pentacles brings in a bit of stability. This is a very stable energy. This is the mother of land and earth. Your connections may, in fact, be diverted or redirected towards nature. Also, this is having a focusing more on your understanding around love, and embodying the elements of emotion when it comes to like water element, the earth is your body, and balancing those, your emotions with your physical reality. And so there's something about focusing in spiritually on being more balanced mentally and physically, bringing in more balance, integrating the feminine intuitiveness with your feminine energy of Mother Earth. So, balancing your intuitive energies with your physical attributes, balancing between those two, and being more receptive, something about tuning into your receptivity in the earth plane. So, I feel like this is asking for you to focus or attune spiritually to more grounding. There's more grounding that's needed. Yeah. She is, in fact, a healer, very versed in the earth and, medicine when it comes to herbs. Um, Very attached to the earth. So there's something about attuning spiritually to the physical plane, to earth, to the cycles and rhythms of its elements, and balancing even in the four elements of earth: water, fire, air, and earth. In doing that, there's like a sacred plane that will be manifested where ideas and inspirations will flow spiritually. This may be a shifting that takes place for you, or maybe it already has taken place. Yeah. hmm And so there's something about attuning and balancing those energies between the mind and the intuition and your physical plane as the divine essence unfolds. You could be someone who is very abundant spiritually, and it could be a lot. You may already, before you even came into this awareness, you were already abundant. Part of holding abundance is being able to balance and, being able to maintain that abundance. I'm getting that kind of energy. And so there's a shift in your focus to certain elements of your spirituality. For you, it is balance between your physical existence, your connection with the earth and the physical plane, but balancing in your intuitive energy, right? There's something about balancing those two or bringing those two into harmony. That's the spiritual call right now. And so you may be either noticing a shift in your beliefs or your practice, or you've already shifted that in balance. Just more balance needs to be brought in that area spiritually. Now, intellectually, we have the Queen of Swords. Okay. And yeah, that kind of really speaks for itself intellectually. That is the Queen of Swords, very intellectual, very strong, has this very strong of sense of selectual channeling when it comes to the pure divine thought and truth that is held. This is like the mother goddess of purity and light, divine wisdom, And she embodies the elements of both water and air. And so there is the integrating the fluid feminine intuitive wisdom with the divine intellect. So whereas the Queen of Pentacles spiritually, you're focusing on balancing your existence in the earth plane with your watery feminine intuitive energy. Intellectually, you're doing that same thing with your mental existence, combining and balancing that with that feminine intuitive watery energy, right? And so it's in how you're thinking, how you're seeing things, um, how you are actually realizing truth through balancing these intellectually. This is maybe, being called to take a look at how you are learning things and thinking, how you're communicating. That may be changing for some of you. For some of you, this may be fine tuning that part of your experience right now. And there's something about being a leader in that way, very authentic. And this is an energy that has a high sense of integrity, that may, in fact, bring in justice. It's being held to a high sense of integrity, but holding a lot of grace as well, and being able to approach things with a sense of focused authority. Very independent and confident. And so I feel like this is really challenging, possibly to even develop your own sense of truth. It's almost like not really relying on anyone to bring any concept, but you have to be able to really think for yourself and stand on your own truth, being able to recognize and do the work to arrive at what is truth for you and stand on that and make sure it aligns, with what you believe, with what is right. And so heavy independent energy here, but very strong mentally. Even I'm getting a sense of heavy visionary energy, very photographic. There's something about the mind that comes through as multi sensory, if that makes sense. Like it's very strong, thinks, envisions, it has all these different functions mentally, but also understanding the importance of tapping into that feminine energy, that very watery, intuitive energy to balance that out, right? Because it can't be just all thought, but it needs to be balanced out with the heart energy, the intuitive energy as well. So there's something about intellectually responding to this call in this way, allowing yourself to be open to balance this mental energy that you carry. You may possibly be someone placed in positions of high authority, which requires for you to be able to operate in a high sense of integrity when it comes to decision making or using your mind as a tool. Because there's something about communication that's coming through here as well, being able to strategize and make a plan, operating justly. She does give me warrior energy, like being able to stand in your truth honestly, being able to take action when necessary, being strong-willed, cutting through confusion, cutting through fear or doubt when you're confronted with it. Just really being able to hold your own intellectually, not really, and I'm sorry if I use this and it offends someone, not being weak-minded is what I'm getting. So intellectually strong and independent. And in that, bringing that sense of wisdom, right, through healing. Now, when we look at the emotional response, interestingly, we got the Three of Pentacles. Emotional response is the Three of Pentacles. This is very interesting. So, the Three of Pentacles is one that is all about um, Venus in Capricorn. Okay. This is the power of creativity in a high level way. This is a time when you can actually be channeling the divine inspiration into your life's work. So there's something about your feelings and your relationships, your emotional response. You may, in fact, like we were saying, the lovers could be connecting to someone through work that's going to relate to what you've been called to do. It's connected through work. And it calls for you tapping into your higher self and your true path, your true work that you were meant to do. May require you to go through some trials and error to find what that is. And many of you may be on that path right now. Finding your true calling can be difficult. That can be like an emotional roller coaster. And you have to be patient. You have to remain open to what is revealed and continue to look and search and work with tools and be open to receive more knowledge, to be able to really find your true path. The Three of Pentacles is kind of like that energy of you working and being purposeful in developing skills and stabilizing and structuring and planning, having the tenacity to pursue through to your true calling. This is the aspiring apprentice, learning and using new talents to execute creation in the world of form, right? And I feel like when we find it, we'll know because there'll be like this magical surge that we feel with that connection. And it'll feel exciting. It won't be tiring, but it'll actually be energizing. And it'll be exciting as we watch things take form, and it may in fact take a while. Doesn't mean it's just going to pop up, but it may be something that we're working on slowly, but it's exciting as it emerges, as we're working on it and watching it take form. It gives life. That might be one of the indicators that this is something that is aligned with your true purpose. It'll be life-giving. But whatever that is, I feel like it is definitely something that connects with work. You can consider it your true path. This may be something that aligns with your work. Emotionally, this may be something that will be fulfilling because it's connected with your emotional response. This is something that's going to be fulfilling. It may be something in connection with relationships. The Three of Pentacles is kind of like collaborations. It could be your work environment, where you work, who you work with. There's something connected with that. And I feel like this is going to provide some emotional stability or support. Okay. Lastly, we have physical response with the Three of Wands. 3-3 could be significant. And the Three of Wands, when we talk about the physical response, this is talking about what to do, like the actions that we can take right now. And this is all about the sun in Aries. This is all about new horizons. The Three of Wands is all about expansion, moving forward. So this very well tells me that this could be something that you're already working on, that you've already mastered to some degree. And now that you have kind of like this foundational energy secure, and form. Now it's time to expand and embellish and elaborate. It's time to grow. It's time to allow your vision and your foresight to move you forward as you remain on this road of self discovery and creation, right? This is taking opportunities to create and to move forward and to expand and to, connect with new energy and creativity, to recognize your potential and move on it. And so that's the physical response, is to keep moving forward, to keep taking opportunities to grow. And this is a number 3. So this is even talking about staying balanced between the mind, the heart, and the spirit, making sure that you stay balanced as you're moving forward physically, to stay in harmony, awakening to your spiritual power, your mental confidence, and your physical energy, and also your compassionate heart, tapping into your true purpose in life. So this is also balancing. Yeah. So this is beautiful energy. I love this. I love this. And so there's different things I feel like that we're being tapped into, but it all is talking about the same thing: balance, staying balanced, operating in like a high level of integrity, um, understanding and aligning with our true purpose, coming into our authentic self, our unique selves, and holding ourselves accountable in that place, right? Because that is where we are being called, so that what we've been called to do can take place, can happen. And thank goodness, like a lot of what we've been called to is going to be happening through us. I feel like a lot of pressure has been taken off of us having to perform. Because when we look at the seventh ray, that says that when we position and align ourselves to where we're supposed to be in life, then what happens happens naturally. There's nothing that we need to do. It's just going to take place because we're in position. And so that takes a lot of pressure off of having to perform, to do something. It's not us doing anything. It really is spirit moving through us to cause the change that us being here in our physical vessels have been called to do. We all have a purpose. And just us being here, there's nothing that we need to do. There's nothing that we need to change. Just us being here, really and aligning in the place that we're supposed to be, it actually enacts, or it, what is the word I'm looking for? It activates, that's the word. It activates divine destiny. It activates whatever that purpose is that we've been called or we've come here to make, whatever contribution we've come here to make, just us standing in our authentic space, aligning in that, it activates it. Yeah. And so it takes the pressure off of having to perform. Our job is to align with our authentic self and be open to continue to allow spirit to mold us and position us. And I do feel a strong sense of collaboration and partnerships and connections. That's a strong part of whoever this is resonating for, because that's how the change is being made, is through you making connections. Okay. That's what I'm getting. So I hope that made sense. I'm not going to take it any further. I'm going to leave it right there. For whoever needs to hear this, I am manifesting that this comes across your screen and you are called in to hear this. And if you don't know, now you know. This is the activation. Okay. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you feel led to do so. Let me know if it resonates. If you find yourself subscribing, hit the bell so you'll be notified when more messages come out, okay? Blood Moon Oracle here. Until next time, take care.